I thought it was time to break out my old Warhammer miniatures again to have a look at. And excitingly, I've actually found a couple of unopened blister packs from, this must be from the 90s, which I'm going to show you. So let's crack over to here. And here we go. So what I'm going to be asking you as chat to help me with is decide which of these I should open on the stream, have a look at and get stuck into. So we have, this is some, look at this, $2.99. Wow, that takes you back, right? So this is Empire Cavalry Outriders. So there's a horse, and there is a rider with a gun. It's an interesting mix of metal rider and plastic horse, but it's all good. Yeah, these are Oldhammer. I'm not messing about with these. These really are. Board GM's finally got Bones 5 shipping info, so it's on its way. Amazing. Yeah, that's been a long time coming. Yeah, now it's just $2.99. Just step inside a Warhammer shop, says Carlos. Are they the historical ones, says J-Star. So these are from Warhammer Fantasy. So it's not historic. I mean, it's historical in the sense that they're like 30 years old, the miniatures. It's not historical in the sense of being really historically accurate, but these are from the like the high fantasy medieval type things. So these are, this guy would still be fighting against orcs and stuff, but yeah, it's Warhammer Fantasy, so it is that kind of, I guess it's kind of meant to be like a medieval Europe kind of thing. That's kind of my interpretation of what it's intended to be. Although the main country in the Empire is called Reichland, which is not a very subtle thing on being Germany. So yeah, that's oh, they had a go at historicals at one point. Okay, so this is not like proper historical, but yes, it's kind of that fantasy medieval kind of thing. So this is one of the two packs that I have. So for $2.99 back in the day, you've got a horse and its rider. So this is probably pewter, I would imagine, because it probably goes back before they changed the metal that they were doing. So I'll be careful not to give myself lead poisoning with it. But yeah, so that's you get all of that for $2.99. Amazing. As Carlos says, it's fair to say you couldn't really buy very much for $2.99 in a Warhammer shop these days. So this is option one. Option two is these. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't have a sticker on it. I think these are Wood Elf War Dancers, maybe, or something like that. Sorry. J-Star said, I think it was when Rick Priestley was there before they formed Warlord. Only I read it as Rick Astley, and I thought somehow you were trying to Rickroll me. I haven't had enough coffee this morning. Oh, interesting. That's cool. Okay, so Bellalurian agrees. They look like Wood Elf War Dancers. Okay, you can see loads and loads of flashing on these. But yeah, these two I dug out. I basically, last time I was down at my parents', which was a long time ago now, I had to dig around in the old stuff that we had from when my brother and I were kids. And these are two gems that I managed to turn up. Bellalurian's redeemed a hydrate to help me caffeinate a bit more. I appreciate that. Jason says they look like Spartans. Yeah, they do kind of look like Spartans. Obviously, if these get voted for, we can take a closer look at them outside the packaging. But these are definitely Wood Elves. I'm not absolutely sure what the official kind of unit name is, but I think it's probably War Dancers. Carlos says, I just got out of bed today as well, trying to make some coffee and go for a run as soon as the stream finishes. It's a chilly morning. Yeah, I can imagine. It started to get quite chilly here. My computer tells me it's 6 degrees currently in Scotland. I don't know how accurate it is because I've yet to go outside this morning. Although I do, because I don't feel the cold, I am sitting here with the window open. So, it's just my life of not feeling the cold. Did I not say Wood Elf? Did I say something else? Or are you just agreeing with me, J-Star? It's possible I said something else in error. I'm not sure. But yeah, so what I want you guys to do is to help me choose which of these I'm going to open on the stream and have a look at, and yeah, really get a close look at. So Balloon, are you in a position to do a poll for me? Do tell me if it's inconvenient. I meant to get it started up before the stream started, but I was busy making coffee. So, you know, these things are... coffee is more important than polls. I'm sorry. I just have to put it out there into the world. So could you do a 10-minute poll to... Literally just the two options are Empire Outrider and Wood Elf War Dancer. And we'll see what people want. And people can... yeah. Oh, Wood Elf is your choice. Oh, okay. Says J Stuff. Right, fair enough. I thought that was I'd done something wrong. Oh. Ah, okay. So the Ball Gym has put in a link to some War Dancers. Hopefully this is not going to... So redirect notice. Yes, that's okay. That's fine. Ah, yes. Yes, that is them. I believe. It's... I think because you... Yeah, it's in Dutch for me. So I'm struggling to understand all of the different bits and pieces. Oh, no. Only some of it is in Dutch. And it's now just translated itself. So we're all good. Yes, I think... yeah, I think that looks good to me. Yeah, there we go. So I think we're confident that it's Wood Elf War Dancers. Here we go. So the poll is up. So you can vote for the Empire Outrider or the Wood Elf War Dancers. Let me know what you'd like. Oh, the label is in German. For some reason, it all came up. Lots of it came up. Yeah, Kampfdienste der Waldhelfen is still in there. I don't know what it was. Oh, I think there was a redirect screen that came up, potentially because you found it that came up in Dutch. I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Next step, Google how much unopened blisters are worth before making the choice. See how much money you can make me waste by opening the... Yeah, imagine how much someone would pay for one of these now. But it's fine. It's fine. It's for the stream. Yeah, those hairdos. I know. Yeah. But you can have a closer look at them if that wins. But in the meantime, while that's going on, because we've got a few minutes of poll. Oh, a second vote's in. Right. So I'm going to put them to one side while this goes on, and then I thought I would look at some of my other old ones again. And I'm back to, you might remember seeing before. I've got this old DIY box of odds and ends, which we're going to have a look at. It's quite dark in here at the moment because I think it helps us to see some of the unpainted minis. But if it feels like it's too dark and you can't see anything, let me know and I'll kind of light the place up again. But with all the lights on, the metal just becomes impossible to see essentially. But right, let's check. Oh, there was one that I wanted to show you from up on the top here. Where was it? Yes, here it is. So this is I've told you how bad I was at painting. Apparently, I wasn't even good at gluing. Look at this. Look how atrociously that's glued into there. And even, look at this is just a giant patch of glue that was not put on properly. So some of my minis from back in the day are not in the best of states. But one thing I thought would be interesting to talk about, I don't know whether anyone else has, this might just be a me thing, but whether anyone else has paint remover that they would go to in instances where you've got an old and bad paint job and you kind of you want to have another go at it because frankly it looks pretty atrocious. So I thought that'd be the one that I've been using recently is Green Stuff World paint remover, which does look very, very cool. Greymouse says, "Oh wow, I love those sculpts." Yeah, there are some amazing. I'm assuming you're not talking about this badly glued together boar, which I've got here, but I've got some miniatures here which are painted and painted very badly. Let's see. Let's check this. Let's just check this dude out. Most of the way to getting to the headless boarman. Yeah, absolutely. I think we might need a bit more light actually for these. Let's try turning a light or two on and see how we do. So this is yeah, this is an example of a pretty standard paint job that I did back in the day. It's one of those you have to laugh or you cry kind of things. But this is the kind of example of what I'm looking to kind of remove with paint remover. And as I say, I do really like the Green Stuff World paint remover. But if anyone has any other thoughts, anything that they like to use, I know some people will just use floor cleaner, like bleach type stuff. Probably not actually bleach. I'm not sure. Pellerin says, I mean, your painting was still much better than mine even back then. I'm genuinely not sure that that's true. I think part of the issue was that you tried to do good painting, and like it wasn't perfect, so it ended up looking. I just kind of slapped 4 colours on and then we're done with it. Yeah, so this definitely needs all the paint removed from it, and then I can kind of try again. I do have some which are still unpainted, in fact. So let's take a look at this guy. So this is an orc. I don't know exactly what he is. I think he might be an orc champion of some sort. I've got a couple of them, so I wonder if he's... what they used to do is they used to sell boxes of plastic minis that were all identical, and then they sold a command pack which had like a champion, a banner bearer, and a musician in it, I think. So I think this might be a champion from one of them. Oh, hello, Mighty Lancer. Yeah, you've caught a Saturday morning stream. Very nice to see you. Very nice to have you here. I'm looking at some very, very old Warhammer. And the poll, I'll just give you a quick view on... So the question is, which pack should I open? Empire Outrider or Wood Elf War Dancers? So I have some of these very, very old Warhammer packs. So the choice for chat is between this Empire Cavalry Outrider or this pack of War Dancers. Yeah, you can have your vote, and then I'll open one up, take a good look at it. I may even commit to painting something from it if I'm feeling particularly adventurous. So do have your say on that. Greymouse says, I have a Doom Rider. I don't know what's on it, but so far spirits wouldn't strip it, but started to melt the plastic. Yes, that is definitely one of the issues. So that I think is part of the reason that I like the Green Stuff World paint remover, is because it doesn't strip, it doesn't melt plastic. So I've done plastic miniatures in there. It doesn't. It's quite hard work to get the last of the paint off because it's a little bit gentler, I guess, than some of those really, really aggressive stuff. The Ball GM says, I've used brake fluid, right, for cars and things. Works good on plastic minis, but makes them also greasy and is not cheap. Right, there you go. So that presumably doesn't melt the plastic minis. Nowadays I use St. Mark, a paint cleaner degreaser. But you can leave plastic models in there for days without damaging the models. Oh, that's good. And it's pine fresh scented. Always good. I think we've talked on this stream before about the importance of having a scented army. You know, smelling fresh as you engage in battle. That's a good shout. I've not come across St. Mark. You can buy it in DIY shops. Honestly, anything you can buy in DIY shops is almost undoubtedly going to be cheaper than the stuff that you buy specific hobby related stuff, which is why, like, when it comes to like PVA glue or whatever, I use this stuff which I bought from B&Q, which is a DIY shop in the UK. I don't know if it's also abroad. And I've had this for I don't know how long. Probably about 4 years, I should think, something like that. Yeah, and it works really, really well. So it means you can avoid the kind of markup of these things. As I say, the Green Stuff World paint remover is good. You can also leave a plastic mini in there for a long time without fear of it disintegrating or warping or anything like that. But it might be that the St. Mark stuff, the paint cleaner degreaser, is actually a better option if you can buy it like in bulk from DIY shops. That's often a good plan. I just checked out which was winning in the poll. I don't know. I think you guys can see it as you go along, but we've got a leader at the moment in the poll. But yeah, some of these old sculpts are very, very cool. I have a mixture of the like a metal and the plastic here. So here you go. This is another version of the same guy, which is part of what leads me to think that it's probably like a champion that you bought in a pack like that rather than anything else. But again, could probably do with a strip and a repaint on that Ditto. It's not glued into his base, this one. Outrageous behaviour. But yeah, lots and lots of these like plastic dudes. And I think that's the key, as you've alluded to in chat, is if you're going to strip paint, you need to make sure that it's something which is not going to damage whatever miniature you're using. A lot of the tools which work really well at stripping paint off metal just don't work for plastic, because you end up with like a lump of unidentifiable plastic at the end of it, which I probably also isn't very good for you if you can do it. Yeah, not glued in, but has still managed to keep hold of his base over a number of decades. Yeah, it's pretty firmly in, actually. I actually had to put some pressure on it to get it out. Grey Mouse says that one is even older. This one? I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. That's exciting if this one's even older. Yeah, this one. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think... So I first started playing Warhammer when I was... I always struggled. I should probably actually spend some time at some point thinking about this and trying to figure it out. But probably when I was, I don't know, 13 or 14, something like that. Which would put it mid-90s. You end up having a lot of Blob, the plastic minis in different versions. So this guy is from Warhammer. Because I can... So you got them in boxes of the swordsman and the archers, like that. And I have many, many of them. There you go. There's another horrendously painted swordsman. Yeah, these are 90s sculpts, says Mighty Dancer. There you go. I have 4 of the 40k version of those. Actually, I have lots of 40k, very old 40k minis on sprue. Because I randomly decided at one point when I was in my teens that I was going to start playing 40k and then never did. So I should have a look at them at some point. And yeah, I should auction them off and make my millions, right? That's something like that. Anyway, this is an interesting one. So this, I think this is the boar rider for a champion, a named person. Because the boar itself is plastic, just like the others. But the head is metal. Which I always think is a really interesting one to do something like this. Do like a part of each. Clearly the idea was they could just use the same boar sculpt as they used for all the others. I mean, you can tell it's no, it's not identical to that one. They must have had a couple of different boar sculpts going on. Oh, here we go. There's an unpainted one with the same thing, so you can see that it's the old plastic and metal combination. Oh, Ball GM has this boar too. There you are. So yeah, lots of random bits and pieces, but I definitely need to get the old paint remover out on a lot of these things. Here you go. Here's a goblin. Basically, black, green, red, done. Move on to the next one. So yeah, lots and lots of them here. I think I'm going to investigate... I know I can't Google it easily at the moment because I've got a box of minis on my lap and my keyboard is tucked away. But I will do it. I was just going to look up the paint remover. Oh, here's a Chaos Dwarf. I have a bit of a... I have a little bit of a soft spot actually for these Chaos Dwarves. I think they're really fun. This guy's got a very broken base. So probably shouldn't bend it even more. But yeah, I don't know if I just had a couple of these. I don't remember. Because I think... Mighty says Chaos Dwarf! Glad I could find something which would... tickle your fancy. Yeah, I don't have very many of these, so I think potentially what happened is because I had an Orcs and Goblins army, I think potentially I kind of bought a few Chaos Dwarves to top up and like add to my army. Oh well. Those two messages together. Grey Mouser says, that's probably worth a bit, that Chaos Dwarf with the big head stuff. And the Bull GM says, I have the whole Chaos Dwarf's army painted and all. Well, there you go. So if you ever want to make a quick bit of cash, Bull GM, it sounds like you can go for it. Oh, not painted by yourself, but even so. I wonder if I've got any other Chaos Dwarfs. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, that's a random 40k dude that I started painting, got bored and wandered off. I've also got parts of a dragon in here, but... I don't know. I feel like I have some other Chaos Dwarf stuff around somewhere. Oh, there's a cool Goblin Standard Bearer. Let's put him to one side. I am aware the poll has finished, by the way, so I shall open a pack very soon. You know, I've got to keep you in suspense, right? I've got to, yeah, keep it dramatic and all that. I'm sure I have a couple more Chaos Dwarves somewhere, but I can't immediately see them. So rather than spending hours scrabbling around for them, what I should probably do is actually like go through here, take a bit of an inventory of what's here. Oh, oh man, gotta love this painting as well. Oh dear. Yeah, so I should probably go through here and take a bit of an inventory and actually start working through some of this stuff. I bet there are people around who would love some of these things in here. A little bit of 40k scattered in here. Oh, a Goblin Fanatic. Love it. You gotta love one of these. So these guys, for those of you who didn't play Warhammer back in the day, these guys would hide in a unit of goblins. So goblins are basically just an easy kill for whatever comes along. But these guys would hide in there, and then whenever anyone got close, they just like fire out the front, take out half their unit, and then die. But basically, it's just a way of making your goblins actually do something in the battle. Right. Yeah, as I say, I can't see any more Chaos Dwarves immediately, so we're going to leave that for now and try and put this back together. Fanatics! Thank you for the cheer, the ball gem. I appreciate it. Did the notification come up? I didn't see it. It should have done. It is on. Yeah, don't know. I may have just been looking down, and I think my sound is turned right down. Oh, it did. Oh, that's good. It did, but didn't hear it. Okay, I'm on it. So, yeah, okay. Let's show. I'm gonna give it a cheer. I'm gonna give that cheer a cheer, and we'll see if that comes through. Yeah, okay. That cheer was for the cheer, ball GM, just to keep things confusing. So there we go. So the sound should now come through. I've sorted that out. Ball GM says he should take his Chaos Dwarves out and put them, take them out of the showcase and put them in a safe. Yeah, absolutely. $52 for 10, I guess, is best so far for the Chaos Dwarves unpainted. Wow. So let's say that makes it $5.20 US for one. Obviously, these things scale and whatever. So if this was worth $5 unpainted, this one must be worth at least, I don't know, 50 cents or something. I'll have to give it a bath in Remover and then see where we end up from there. But there we go. Yeah, back in the day, I definitely my painting was taking away value from miniatures rather than adding to it. Okay, so I believe that the winner was this pack of War Dancers from Wood Elves. I know that if Andy were here this morning, he would be excited by these because he's an old school Wood Elf man. But are we ready, everybody? I think we should dig in. Right, let's do it. It feels slightly wrong. Oh, good. That was a successful attempt to open it, right? It's the cardboard is so old; it's just coming away in fragments. Oh dear. Yeah, I know. Nobody tell me what these were worth unboxed. I mean, in box rather. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm going to have to just force my way in. This is not working, is it? Yeah, the collectors are crying, I know. Oh, something just made a weird noise sitting next to me. Here we go. I know, but miniatures are for playing. They're not for collect. I mean, obviously they're for collecting, but they're not for just sitting in packages as far as I'm concerned. So we've got the 4 bases here. They are very small bases, aren't they? Clinodev. Hello, Clinodev. Very nice to see you. I was doing stripping tonight and found a lovely 90s metal dreadnought in a glob of paint, which preserved it amazingly. There's even model flashing on it. Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. 20mm square bases for these Wood Elves. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some of these minis, like, paint stripped off and actually getting a chance to paint them up again. There are some absolute beauties in there. I'm still working on my brother to try and get him to just give me any extra Warhammer that he has lying around, because he doesn't paint or collect or play or anything these days. Carlos says, yeah, I'm not that fan of the culture of preserving everything packed on. Yeah, I mean, I kind of, if that's what someone wants to do, I'm not going to get worked up about it particularly. But yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. Let's put it that way. Right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to destroy the value of these even more, because I'm sure the flashing is a valuable part. I'm going to find my clippers if I can. Should have done this before the stream started as well, didn't I? I was not organised enough this morning as I was going around fetching coffee. I'm sure they're here somewhere. And if you've watched many of my streams before, you will know very well that I can't find things that are right in front of my face. So, all right, we'll... okay. So... Grey Mouser says, oh, thank you for the follow, Clinidev. I very much appreciate it. Very kind. Grey Mouse says, maybe $20 US if you're lucky. I'm assuming for this one that I've just opened. And Bellorian says, it's okay. Looks like you can get those blisters for about £10 to £15. So much more than they used to be, but not ripping up too much value. Yeah. Carlos says, if it was like 150 quid, perhaps I'd be more concerned. Yeah, to be honest, that's kind of why I don't... If it had been like £100 or something, I'd be crying and unemployed about now. But yeah, fortunately not. It's fine. I'm sure that with my painting skills on there, it will only increase them in value. Right, let's... I'm just taking off some of this flashing that's easy to do without clippers. I'm not going to risk anything on these lovely thing. I have to follow a man who appreciates the value of good 90s flashing. Okay, I think we've talked about flashing and stripping so far on the stream, so I think we're in slightly dangerous territory. But yes, I think we're looking good. Right, so and these even have like squared off slots rather than diagonal slots. Maybe that was really common back. I know that the bases were all square back in the day. Hashtag Squire out of context. Yeah, I appreciate good 90s flashing. But I thought the standard used to be like going diagonally across the base, just like this. Grandma says my sister got flashed once. She thought it was funny. I think we probably shouldn't veer down. I'm glad that it wasn't a traumatic experience, but you know, I'm definitely not actually pro these things. I think, you know, I hope that goes without saying, but I've said it now, so it's fine. Yeah, I was surprised to see that it goes across the base like this. That's interesting to me. But yeah, you can see this this beauty of a mini. Thank you for the follow, Hull QT. I'm going to say Hull QT. Let's go for that. Yeah, so you can see some of these older minis are not maybe quite as detailed as the newer ones, but at the same time, you can get some good detail on the face. You can see the hair is right up. So to me that implies movement, because I feel like if the Wood Elf weren't moving, it would just kind of be hanging down at the back. So I mean, they are war dancers, so you know, cutting some shapes on the dance floor. Let's move on to the next one. Have a look at this bad boy. Since I've opened this, you know, £15 worth of miniatures, I may as well get my money's worth by enjoying them, right? So let's just again, we'll take off the worst of the flashing that I can do by hand. I'm not going to do anything too adventurous. Hull QT says, some Warhammer content at 2:30 AM while I prime some Space Marines. Good night, fine. Good, well, it's really good to have you here. Really good to have you with us. Yeah, I'm in Scotland, so it's 10:30 in the morning for me. So we're kind of starting the weekend, and it's that's why it's coffee chat and minis. We're kind of get going. Now £15 worth of minis from GW is one mini, says Carlos. Yeah, I could have sold this pack of old miniatures and bought one mini from Games Workshop. Games Workshop, this obviously is not the point of this stream particularly, but I do find their pricing structure interesting, because it doesn't really seem to be about like the value in terms of the materials that they use to create. It feels much more about the value to an army. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but you can get some minis still relatively cheap from Games Workshop. I think I got yeah, it is. It's not scale. Some minis are like 20 for one mini and then 30 for 15 minis. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I got some of the plastic orcs at one point. I'm not sure if I've got any here. Let's have a look. See, it's the like equivalent of the savage orcs that they do now. I was painting one the other day, so there should be one on my table somewhere. But again, I can't find anything that's right in front of my face, so I can't find it. But kind of like the equivalent of, I don't know, this kind of miniature is like it's much more based on, so you can actually buy quite a lot of this kind of thing for relatively cheap, but then you scale it up just a little bit, and this guy who's currently unpainted, he's quite a bit bigger, but this guy on his own is like 20 or 25 I think, whereas this comes in a multi-pack. So yeah, it is all a bit strange. It is all a bit strange, but you know, what can you do? They're a poor investment right now, says Grey Mouse. Yeah, you're probably right on that score. Probably right. Hull QT says, you might be right on that point though, especially with some of the 40k units at the moment. Yeah, it feels like, I mean, you know, it's one of those things. Games Workshop are allowed to price their stuff however they want. People can either pay for it or not, you know. It's one of those things. But some of the stuff does seem priced specifically to be like, oh, you want to play this army? Great. Now you need to buy this really expensive thing from us. Yeah. It's like you can buy one Cristiano Ronaldo or a whole League Two team for the same price. Yeah. There you are. So yeah, this guy looks pretty cool as well. Here he is alongside his friend. You can see that's 2 of the 4, and I will keep going. Clearly says, I've been running rescue missions on Planet eBay in the resale sector. They're very grateful. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing is, I have had a look on eBay, and you do occasionally find like really good deals on eBay, but honestly, I felt like I had to put in quite a lot of work to find them. So good on you if you're doing that. Yeah, it's it is quite an investment, because I think a lot of the people using that kind of thing, eBay now is one of those places where most of the people listing on there kind of do it regularly and know what they're doing. I feel like, I don't know, I'm obviously not an expert, but so it's no longer as often like, I've come across these in my attic, I don't know what they are, the little metal figures, who will buy them off me for £10? And everyone's like, yes! It's more like, you know, someone's come across these and now they're selling them at the price that they know people will get them for, which is, again, is fine. I'm not criticising that, but gone are the days where you can easily just find someone, this guy doesn't fit in his base. Gone are the days where you can just, you know, find loads of stuff for a few things. Yeah, this guy doesn't actually fit in his base, so I'm going to have to trim down his base. Sorry, his like little tab, which is fine. It's not an issue. I mean, I'm not going to try and do that without my clippers. But yeah, I'm just going to check that it was not an issue with the base. No, there you are. So the tab is actually wider than the tab hole, as it were. This might be a bit off topic, Hulky. Don't worry. Saturday mornings, particularly, but basically all my streams are just open season. You can chat about whatever you want. I'm not worried. I'm curious to see how GW handles 3D printing in say 10 to 15 years if it becomes more widespread. Yeah, I think I was one of those that until recently. So I have a 3D printer. I'm very fortunate that I have one. I was one of those people until recently was thinking, you know what? I'm not really sure this is going to be a big threat to someone like a Games Workshop. But actually, I think there are some really good 3D prints out there now. I still think it's going to be relatively niche, and I still think that people will want to go to the shop and be part of the community and play games and all that kind of thing. Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. Yeah, RFID chips in every genuine model, says Clear. The deals are in armies. Fortunately, I'm building Space Marines, which everyone has. Yes, sure. And I've never played Space Marines. Am I right in thinking that they're relatively interchangeable? So you can buy a thing of space, not the characters necessarily, but you can buy like a unit, and then you either paint them as I don't know, Space Wolves, or you paint them as Blood Angels, or I don't even know if they're units anymore. I think Space Wolves are, because I think that's what Andy does. But the buy the 3D print file at your local GW shop. I mean, yeah, who knows? A lot of the expense of GW, so the way that they create their models is it costs them vast amounts to create an original mold, but then each print afterwards is quite cheap. So that's why they have like quite good quality plastic compared to some of the other companies. It's a huge upfront cost for a new thing for them to make, but each run of them is relatively cheap. So I don't know how that's going to impact on these things. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe even Games Workshop at some point will move to a 3D printing approach to these things. This guy has his base is too wide for the base as well. He doesn't fit in there. Interesting. Do you think I can take this back to Games Workshop and complain? Oh dear. Mighty Lance says, let's hope not. I assume that's on moving to 3D printing. I think it's a difficult one with 3D printing because it is coming on in leaps and bounds all the time. Even compared to a couple of years ago when I first kind of dipped my toes into the water of it. It has changed hugely. I'm intrigued to know. I was thinking about this the other day, and I can't think of any inherent reason you couldn't do like 3D printed metal. I don't think you could do it at home like you can with 3D printed plastic, but I don't see any reason inherently why you couldn't. I can't think of anything scientifically. Maybe someone will be able to do, compared to my, my technically science degree, which is actually, arty-farty social science. Someone with a bit more of a science background maybe will tell me. But so why couldn't it evolve to use different things? I don't know. Grey Mouse says, I do feel, for example, Bones Black plastic is now better than GW and cheaper. Yeah, I don't know. I've got some of that here, so I can have a look at that. So I'll just take a look at these, even though I can't get them in their base. This is an amazing. It makes me think of like an 80s pop singer or something. The haircut there, not the swords. I'm not aware of that. But yeah, it's almost looks a bit mullety, which is fantastic. Yeah, there we go. Oh, there you go. There is already 3D printing like that, apparently. And this one as well, we'll have a quick look at. There we go. Again, proper haircut on that one. Oh, maybe I should paint these four up as like, I don't know, members of some 80s band. No, I probably shouldn't, should I? I'm trying to think of like a glam rock band that I could do. I don't know. My brain is going to T-Rex, but I think they were long before the 80s. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's catch up on some chat. I do feel for Bones Plastic. We've had a look at. Sounds like the community aspect is more prevalent in the UK. In the US, the shops are mostly tiny, with room for 2 small games or 1 big one. Community happens at local friendly game stores, not Warhammer shops. I think, I think that's probably similar in. I think that's probably similar in the UK. I mean, so Mighty Lancer, who are in chat, are a family-run game shop in the UK, who I know have a big game floor. Unfortunately, not the same part of the UK as me, so I don't know what I mean. But so they certainly have that kind of thing. I think when I've been around, there have been like Warhammer clubs that tended to be like off site, but they're kind of still associated with the shop. I don't really know. I've never been part of these things, to be honest. Back when I was a kid, I had a group of friends and we all played, so we didn't do it at the shop. And now I mostly kind of paint for D&D and just for painting purposes and things like that. So I'm not absolutely sure, but that's an interesting one. Interesting. There's 3D printing of metal, microparticles sintered together. Interesting. Yes, metal got very expensive recently. That's absolutely true. These could be the dancers for my goblin musicians. Yeah, I have from Northumbrian Tin Soldier. I have a little band of like a guy with a flute. No, not a flute, like a trumpet or something. A guy with drums and stuff. So yeah, these could be the dancers for that. I like it. Glam rock party for Goblin Inspiration. Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know, because I know we've got a couple of newer people in chat today, I run a kind of monthly thing. I should come up with a better term for it, really. But it's called Goblin Inspiration. And the idea is I give a kind of theme word every month and encourage people to paint anything that occurs to them. It's not a competition. It's not judged, anything like that. It's just a chance for people to paint together and kind of have fun, basically. And the theme for this month is party. Thank you for the link, Bellerin. I appreciate it. The theme for this month is party. So yeah, I could go for a dance party with these guys. Grey Mouse says BattleTech right now is flying off the shelves. Yeah, I know a lot of people went to BattleTech after. There's always controversies in the Games Workshop community, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, some things to me feel like kind of valid criticism. Some things to me feel like people are just looking for something to get worked up about. But yeah, I know that a lot of people have moved from Games Workshop to BattleTech. I don't really know anything about BattleTech, to be honest with you. So is it? I'm guessing from the name BattleTech, it's more of a competition for 40k rather than like Age of Sigmar or Fantasy like these are. I'll be honest, I am quite excited that Games Workshop are bringing back Warhammer Fantasy. It's still a long way off, but yeah, I am quite excited that they're bringing back Warhammer Fantasy eventually. Clindo says, like the recent change of shop attitude towards proxies hasn't mattered at all. The Warhammer shop just lost half its free advertising in games for new people to watch. What's that? Were they allowing you to use other models as proxies? Because I feel like that's not something that any of the shops I've been into have done anyway. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a policy change in... are you in the US, Clindo? I'm trying to remember. Let's scroll up and see who's where. Yes, you were the person who's asking about the US. Yes, so yes, I don't know. Maybe that's the thing over there. I'm not really sure. Games Workshop, in my experience, have always had quite a strict policy towards only using the right models. It always used to be that they had to be painted, not necessarily. They didn't really do a standard, so it didn't have to be like, oh, these are not good enough painted, sorry, you can't play in the shop, but they had to be painted. Yeah, they did have some pretty strict rules. As I say, I don't think I've ever played a game in a shop, Games Workshop, because it never really appealed to me in that way, to be honest. But there's War Dancers, probably need bases to diagonal slots. You're right, Mighty Lancer. Having said at the beginning that they did, what I might do, I might be adventurous. I don't know. Part of me feels like I should stick to how they are for, nostalgia. People can be like, oh yeah, look, it's exactly how it used to be. And part of me feels like I should just snip the tab off completely, glue them onto a larger base, and then kind of have fun with it. I could even actually, because I don't know, are people gonna? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I should stick with it? Do you think I should just trim these down and put them into these bases? Do you think I should go for a slightly different base? Do you think I should put them all on one base? What do you think? Let me know. Let me know in chat what you think. Yeah, make a diorama out of the four of them. That's kind of what I was thinking as well, but I don't know. So, BattleTech, yeah, smaller unit size generally. Basically, people pilot a robot thing with various guns. Okay. They rank up better that way as well? Oh, with the diagonal bases, yes. Sorry. Yes, you're quite right. Because here, like, this dude, that's the example. So if you put another base next to him there, this is sticking out over it. And so if you tried to put in... Wait, one of these fits in, right? This one. So if you put these next to each other, they're all up in each other's business. So yeah, it is quite hard to put into ranks there. They were probably supplied with the wrong ones. Why can't I take this back to Games Workshop now and be like, I'm sorry, but you supplied me with the wrong bases 30 years ago. Don't know much about Wood Elves, but Wood Elves were not in ranks. They are skirmishers, I think, says the board GM. I think trimming them down would look nice. And Grey Mouse says I think they'd be great for single D&D use. Yeah. Probably spelling bases. Have I got any other bases? I'm sure I have. Most of the bases that I buy now are not slotted bases because I don't tend to use very much. I've definitely got the odd one here and there. So I've got like that, for example. Oh, it doesn't want to fit in there either. There we go. So I could do that. That looks alright. I think. Let's have a look. See if I've got another one. I mean, if nothing else, to be honest, some of these old minis that are terrible, I don't necessarily need to. Keep them. And so there we go. So I could do that. Yeah, bigger bases will make better scenic bases. Exactly. And I love doing a nice base. It's a bit of a tough one. I think what I might do is if I should have enough to do these slightly larger bases. And yeah, do it that way. Yeah, I think they look better with those. So I don't know what on earth I'm going to use these bases for. Oh, you could deploy them as both skirmish and ranked formations in early editions. There we go. That's good knowledge. Speaking of D&D, I recently tried Wrath and Glory using some 40k units for the game, and I was actually amazed by how fun it was. I don't know what Wrath and Glory is, I'm afraid. You're going to have to fill me in on that one. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds, from what you're saying, like a... Oh, I was going to say a D&D module, but I don't think it is. So maybe it's an alternative role-playing game. I'm not sure. Reaper is doing a base boss Kickstarter, are they? At the moment, or are they talking about it? I didn't realise. I didn't realise that was a thing that they were doing. Right. Let's reach again into this box of random odds and ends. There we go. And there we go as well. Right. I'm not sure because I don't need bases, this Grey Mouse. Fair enough. There we go. So yeah, I think that looks a bit better, to be honest. So I think probably that's what I'll do. I'll probably go with these bases. It will mean that some of these old orcs, like this dude, he's now baseless. But, you know, I think I'll have to live with that fact. I think even if I strip them down, I probably... Oh, you're not going to focus for me? Even if I strip them down, I probably don't need quite as many of these as I have. And I certainly don't need them in the state they're in at the moment. So I can probably cope with that. I might be able to... oh, here we go. This guy looks like he'd fit on a tiny base. I don't want him on a tiny base, but there we go. Cut his tab down and put him on the tiny base. Yeah, I mean, that could work, actually. I could just do a bit of an exchange program, couldn't I? I don't know if he'd maybe fit on there. Maybe. Put the orcs on 25mm rounds and use them for RPGs. Yeah, I think that's probably the kind of thing that I'll do. Let's have a look. See what I've got here. That's the thing. I've got lots of different bits and pieces. Is he going to fit on that? Yeah, he'll fit on there. There you go. Jobs are going. That's probably a 25mm round, right? Because if that's a 20, that could even just be a. Honestly, I don't know what they measure. Is 25mm the diameter? Is it on it? Because 25mm presumably is a side length on a square base. So I would guess it's diameter. So this would be, yes, this would be 25. There you are. I assume, because it's a bit bigger than a 20. Good. Good to have someone with some genuine expert knowledge in the chat. I like it. Exactly. It is interesting, and I think it's good to have different things. So, Wrath and Glory is weird. It's a tabletop in the 40k universe, and it breaks campaigns into tiers. Space Marines being the highest, and regular humans being the lowest. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't come across that. I wonder if it's... so I've played a little bit of Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, which obviously is in the Warhammer Fantasy world, but I wonder if it's kind of along a similar line, but in the 40k world? I'm not sure. Dreadnought, I mentioned earlier, says Clinadev, was in a lot with some Terminators I wanted, and about half of them are on old 25mm slot bases. They look absurd, but I half want to play them like that. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'll be honest. I had guessed it was Mr. MLG, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to be rude. But welcome. Good to have you here, Mr. MLG. Clinadev says one of the streamers I like are trying to get a Discord-based campaign of Wrath and Glory going. Ah, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, as I say, I've played a few different role plays. My general kind of aesthetic, I guess where I find the most fun is in the kind of fantasy world. I don't dislike 40k. I've done a bit of painting of 40k stuff and things like that, and I feel like Age of Sigmar is kind of. I don't really play, so it's not fair of me to comment particularly. I only really paint, but for me, the Age of Sigmar stuff has started to move a bit too far towards 40k for my own personal tastes. But that I think is why I'm excited to see about Warhammer Fantasy coming back. But I think that's still a couple of years away, something like that. It's Clindev says one of the Wrath and Glory is super simplified compared to at least the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay I played years ago. Hull QT says I would recommend it. I come from Warhammer Fantasy and Wrath and Glory is really well done. Don't really enjoy sci-fi usually, and it got me wanting to get into 40k. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, 40k. Warhammer Fantasy roleplay is it has been simplified a bit, I think, since early editions. So I played fantasy roleplay. Sorry, I'm just looking at my bits box, which is why I'm not on the camera. I played Warhammer Fantasy roleplay when I was, again, that's the same kind of age as I was playing Warhammer initially, so like in my teens. And then we played just one game of it again like a month ago or something like that. And I think it has been simplified a bit. It is really good. I think it's really well done, the most recent Warhammer Fantasy roleplay. It probably is a bit more complicated than some of the other games out there, but I feel like it does a good job of kind of walking you through it as well. So it's not just like, okay, here you go, have at it. And I think probably, obviously D&D 5th edition is kind of designed to be quite an easy way in. So yeah, compared to that, definitely is a bit more complicated. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. So yeah. Oh, this is really frustrating. So I'm going to show you this guy. So this is a dragon that I had from back in the day. Again, interestingly, metal body, plastic wings. The combination is interesting. I've since coming back to playing, I found everything except one part of this dragon. So I can recreate it, except there is one. I think it's his arm here that I can't find, and it's very frustrating to me. It probably is around somewhere, but yeah, I don't know where it is. Mighty Lance says, interested in the idea of a 40k RPG, but haven't played any yet. Yeah, I kind of be interested. To be honest, part of the thing with all these things is just about time. So I play D&D fairly regularly. I've played some Warhammer Fantasy roleplay. I've done these other things. I'd love to do all of them, but there's a limited number of hours in the day, aren't there? And you kind of you kind of have to pick and choose what you do in the end. Bellarian says, I find it a really interesting combination of some things being really undefined and open, and others having an incredible amount of detail. But yeah, good fun. I think that's in reference to Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, I think, because I played that with Bellarian. And I think it's really good, and it allows you to get into the world of Warhammer without having to buy 350,000 units and all of that stuff. Beautiful dragon, says Michael Lance. Yeah, I mean the painting isn't obviously, but it is a fantastic. I think this was a dark elf dragon. You may or may not be able to confirm that, Bellarian, for me. Bellarian was a dark elf player back in the day, because I have some. Rider who definitely looks dark elf. So we have that's their chair, and we've got that's their top half and things. But yeah, I'm missing literally like one piece of the dragon, which is preventing me from recreating it, which is very frustrating for me. But maybe it will turn up eventually. Who knows? Here we go. I can't. Oh no! This guy's had an accident. He was complete, and he's now lost a hand and a face. So I should take better care of the miniatures that I'm working on. Mighty Lancer says Warhammer Fantasy roleplay is great. Yeah, I definitely think it does a lot of things really, really well. I think Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, and it is very evocative of the Warhammer Fantasy world. He was defaced, says Lenore. Yeah, good work. I like it. I love a good pun. It does that well, and I think it's also it is very dangerous world, but not in that way of like it just feels like every second you survive is an achievement. Just in that sense of you get through, you win a battle, and you're like, yes, we've done it. Rather than some role playing games, if you win a battle, you're like, great. I mean, that was always going to happen, right? Because that's just how it works. So yeah, it does have that element of danger. Lenore says, I've played 40k RPG and it was interesting and I like some of the mechanics and stuff, but it's not one of my favourite worlds to play in. Yeah, I think we've discussed this before, haven't we, Lenore? And I think that was the issue that you were saying on that, is that it is very kind of bleak and there's no way to win. You just stave off losing for a bit longer. I may be paraphrasing quite incorrectly. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I can completely see that. I think I'm going to switch back to this view. So that, ooh, hello. I better sit up straight, hadn't I? Oh, posture check, everyone. I always, whenever I'm working in the area in front of me, I'm always slouching down and looking at it. Yeah, and it might depend on the group or GM, but that was my experience. Yeah, and Grey Mouser says that there are a few 40k RPGs around, so it could be that one is particularly like that and the others are not, and there are different ones around. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a little bit like saying D&D is whatever when there have been lots of editions of that and all sorts. So yep, lots of different things going on, but I hope you enjoyed that look at some of those old minis with the occasional glimpse of some newer minis. I always love getting this stuff. I will definitely have to figure out the paint removal situation so that I can get back in and do some of those minis again, because I love some of those old sculpts. I think I did a stream which I subsequently made a YouTube video of kind of looking at orcs through the ages from Games Workshop, and I really think the kind of squat, like big beefy orcs are my favourites compared to some of the other ones that they have going on now. Not that they're bad, the modern ones, not at all, but yeah, there's just something about those old ones. And honestly, it's probably nostalgia. Probably if I hadn't played with them originally, I would look at them and go, what? But yeah, I think you have to love some of those old things sometimes, don't you?